Hey friends, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see everybody here. Thank you so much for joining, and we're going to start today drawing some faces together. Hey everyone. Skies, Vladimir, Yelena, welcome, welcome guys. So happy to see you here. And today, traditionally started with the pencil brush for sketching. You know, like recently I started to really dig some of the like basic kind of brushes, and I would say like the default brushes maybe. I mean, I still experiment with the settings, but anyway, I think that's actually, if you have the default brushes, it's like already a lot. So don't be concerned, especially at the beginning of your art journey, with like finding some fancy brushes. I mean, it's not bad, but I think like when you are starting out on this art journey, there are more important things to worry about compared to brushes. Just try things out and see which one seems comfortable. Usually these are like some of the default brushes, like the usual round brush, maybe some pencil brushes and stuff, so they can come really in handy. So today I'm drawing some faces. Like I'm going to not draw them super realistically, like just, I would say, stylizing up to some point. Hi, welcome. Welcome to the stream, guys. How's your Sunday? Mine was like pretty chill, pretty chill. And I like when Sundays are like this, because sometimes I have really hectic Sundays, and after a hectic week it can be just too much. So yeah, I'm just starting out with sketching some of the proportions. As I said, I'm not aiming for like super hyper realistic kind of approach here, just studying the face features of different people here from the references in a bit stylized version. Like I can basically say like in my style, but I would say that my style like varies a lot from time to time, and I think I rediscover it from time to time. So like let's just stop there, that it's just stylized at this moment. And I think I told about this before, that like at the beginning of my art journey I was like really concerned about trying to find my style, to create my style, etc, etc. And just, it's funny how when you start paying less attention to this stuff, and like when you don't stress it out, eventually you feel comfortable with what you're doing. And maybe it's like partly to the skill that you're acquiring at the process, and I don't know, but just, I don't know, I feel more comfortable with the style that's I'm drawing in currently compared to, like, I would say maybe a few years before. So if you are struggling to find your style at the moment, like I would just recommend you to chill, not to stress out, be kind to yourself, and just enjoy the process. Because I would say it's not the most important thing actually when you draw. So yeah, I don't like the mouth at this point, so I will just change it. I hope you can see it though, because sometimes it's just too pale. I will try to increase it, maybe this way it will be seen better, because I guess you might not see what I'm doing here. I just prepared a bunch of references, and this is what we're going to. Hello, hi guys, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. So I'm sketching out like pretty roughly at this moment, I would say, just going with the flow, with the intuition. But at the same time, like if you are studying along with me, I would recommend you to use your sense of proportion, your sense of like how things compare, how the things are related to each other. And basically, like I know that people follow different kind of patterns when drawing, and it's totally fine and totally normal. So if you're okay with the way it's going, hi Gerard, thanks for joining. So if you're like happy with the way things are going when you draw, like go for it. I mean, whatever your technique is, I think there is actually no wrong or right way to draw. This is why I will like never criticize a person for doing things a certain way. I can just recommend maybe some of the things that work for me personally, but I will never tell you that like you're wrong for doing something, right? So since drawing is actually like not mathematics and it's rather creative process, so some people are okay with starting with the small details and actually finishing up with the bigger scale things. So all right, if it works for them, why not? I personally tend to work from the bigger shapes, bigger volumes to smaller details, and this way I don't get too distracted or carried away when working with the like smaller extra details and stuff. And I would say that pretty rarely I start with something small, like, I mean, pretty rarely I start with, for example, eyes, right? And then continue to other features, even though sometimes it happens, like especially when sketching, when like doodling and stuff. Okay, I will increase the size just a little. So basically, I would recommend you to experiment and see what works for you. You know, I also I think discovered throughout my journey so far that curiosity is a really helpful engine that helps you to improve very quickly. Because like when you are free from the stress of like making a mistake or doing things right or doing things wrong, like if you just experiment and see what works, what doesn't, and when you're just being like curious, you know, almost like childlike about it, I think this is what definitely helps you to improve faster and stress-free, which I think is important because like nowadays we tend to maybe have too much stress in our lives, unfortunately. I mean, especially if you want to make art your career, I would recommend not to stress much because there are lots of other aspects of this career, this profession that can be stressful enough. So don't add drawing to the list of stressful things. Oops. Basically for sketching I usually use like one layer. I would add maybe another layer just if I want to maybe make a cleaner kind of line art over it. But usually when it's just like a simple sketching, studying, I would use only one layer, and like, I don't know, this sort of simplicity helps me to get rid of some extra stuff happening, you know. I find it way simpler. And I think like I noticed that recently I have been drawing and like painting more on one or two layers mostly. So I know that some people like creating several layers, and I tried this approach as well, and sometimes I think it's really useful, especially like when you have maybe very complex kind of artwork with lots of details and maybe some complex background. So I would say that I don't add additional layers where I don't feel like it, because eventually I end up like getting lost in all of these layers, and sometimes just like painting on the wrong layer, and I mean it's pretty quickly can become a mess. So I'm trying to not to overload myself with all these processes that I don't need. I found this reference particularly interesting because I really love her hairstyle. I think it's like, first of all, super beautiful, and secondly, I really love drawing like hairstyles where there are lots of stuff going on, like with lots of texture, maybe curly hair, maybe a little bit messy hair. I think that it looks really nice and fun. So when drawing a hairstyle like this, I try to be mindful about the overall direction of certain like locks and maybe bigger parts of hair compared to some of the extra hair just sticking out and stuff, because I think I mentioned this before, sometimes it's very easy to start making like very repeating kind of actions, like repeating kind of hairs like sticking out. So even if here we can see that the bank is kind of more or less uniform, I still try to make pieces not equal, because I want them to look more lively and more maybe messy, which adds up a little bit to the character I'm drawing. And Usually when there are lots of repeating lines, art or a portrait can look very, I wouldn't say boring, but you know, kind of not interesting in a way. So like you definitely will see it and feel that something is off. So this is why here I'm trying to like maybe add some strands that maybe aren't there in the reference, but once again, we don't copy the reference, we try to just make things more or less anatomically correct, and at the same time add something up from our own perception of things, let's say so. I mean that I would say ideally it's great not to copy the reference, especially when making an artwork. I try not to ever copy like too precisely the picture that I'm using as a reference. Not because there is something wrong with it, but I just enjoy adding some of the details that I want to be there, and I don't know, it just kind of becomes a mix of what is there in the picture and your imagination, and I think it's really fun when you like it's basically the creative part of the process that I enjoy, I would say maybe even the most when drawing. So also drawing a little bit of the visible part of the body here, collarbones and neck and some muscles. I don't want to like once again be too precise, because as I said, not everything that is present at a reference is equally important. So some of the details can be left out. Like to get a good or interesting picture, you need to know like what to draw, what to show, and what not to show. Just hope you can see it, because yeah, I think it's visible. The great thing you have to do so quickly, it's beautiful. Thank you, and thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. So now we're going to just freeze it, put it here somewhere, I guess. I'm not sure how many I want to make like on this page, but right now I will just make it smaller and add another First of all, let's change the reference. And I think we can go maybe like this one. Just to change a little bit the hairstyle overall. And I usually tend to change the color of the pencil as well. Just, I don't know, I like working with the colored sketches, and when it's coloring, it depends, because when you color, you also want to think about the color that you're going to use and the color palette in general. So this is how you can just maybe choose the outline kind of color or sketching color. But now it doesn't really matter, because at this point I'm not going to color them, maybe later. So basically, let's start with the next person. Just once again, simply sketching out the shapes, approximate eye location, and some of the proportions. Face shape. The basic shape of the hair volume can be pretty geometric in a sense, so you don't need to make it all flowy at the beginning. If you don't want to, I would just maybe simply draw it like I would draw some geometric kind of objects. Now I think that we can get rid of some of the lines that are not serving us anymore. So since we approximately identify the location of each part of the face, now we can define maybe shapes a little bit more. What is good about digital art in general is that it's very forgiving in terms of the so-called mistakes that you make. I wouldn't even maybe call them mistakes, since these are just things that you want to edit a little bit. So, I mean, once again, maybe it's just me, but I don't like the concept of mistake. Because, you know, there are so many styles, so many artists drawing their own way. So the idea of making a mistake in art, I think it's, in my personal opinion, I think it's kind of weird, because there are certain moments when maybe you don't want to follow the anatomy as precisely as it is. So I would just call them maybe situations where something turned out not the way you wanted to. In this sense, maybe you can call it a mistake, but in general, I don't see why you have to stress it out this way. So yeah, I was talking about digital media being very forgiving, and basically lots of things can be fixed very quickly and easily, especially when working on not a lot of layers, I would say. So in this sense, I think it's nice for beginners. It's like, of course, when I was a beginner, I had troubles with coloring, like it was so difficult for me and confusing, and I would say that's okay. Just allow yourself some time to learn, to maybe find out new things, start using them, and basically this is what it's about. And also recently, like, I have been surfing Pinterest for some references, and actually I was so confused from time to time with all this AI thing happening there. Oops. Because I mean, I can actually like maybe identify some of the very obvious kind of AI, I would say, and I don't use it as reference because I don't like it. I feel like it's soulless and not interesting to draw from. So but recently it has become more and more difficult for me to understand, like, if it's human made or if it's AI. And actually, like, kind of, I would say, bothered me because I don't want to use anything that is made by AI because of their policies and like this violation of artists' rights and creatives' rights. So and I know, like, I mean, some people tell me how to recognize it, how to understand that it's AI, but you know, like, when you just want to draw or study something, it's just that you don't want to play Sherlock Holmes and start, like, I don't know, inspecting each and every reference that you have. So, like, I think I even deleted some of the references just because I have suspicion that this is AI, if it makes sense. And honestly, like, I don't think that it's good. I think before, Pinterest used to be a way more interesting place and maybe a way funnier place. I mean, in a good way, as fun for me, not as a bad one. So and it's not like I'm some sort of, like, you know, technophobe or whatever. I dislike new technologies and stuff. I dislike when people don't respect artists and their rights, and basically when human rights are not respected. This really bothers me. But like, the technology itself, it can be pretty useful in other spheres. So I mean, basically it's just a tool, but I don't like the way it's used nowadays. I'd say so. once again, like starting to draw the hair and starting with the biggest volumes, maybe with some of the dynamics of these volumes, like how they correlate together. Actually, the shape of these waves, because in our case we have more or less wavy hair to draw, so I would say that the character of these waves is going to even define the character of the person drawn here. And like I would say, the more dramatic the shapes are, the more dramatic can be the character's personality, I would say. Because I think that when you design a character, like hairstyle plays a huge role. You see, I made like pretty equal parts of the hair here, and I didn't like it because as I said, especially when it comes to hair, you know, it's very rare maybe that hair splits in very equal kind of parts. I mean, unless you style it this way, but if you want it to look more natural, especially the wavy hair, I would recommend you to avoid these sort of repetitions. So at this moment we can get rid of some unnecessary lines that maybe don't help us anymore. So yeah, just getting rid of some extra unnecessary lines, maybe adding up a little bit some of the ones that might be interesting or make the hairstyle more interesting to look at. Okay. So let's go for the third style. I'll create once again a new layer, and I will choose another color, but I think it will depend on the reference I'm using. So let's try maybe this one. I think it's also interesting. It's different angle, a little bit bigger. And here I'll draw. Okay, as for the color, I think it can be more like reddish kind of color. I think because of her pretty much red hair. So yeah, checking the layer, and I think I just want to make this one a little bit smaller because I'm not sure that I'll have enough free space for the next drawing. So let's change this one a bit. Maybe let's decrease this one a bit. Moreover, like this way we will have more free space, like the borders of the art area. So yeah, now it's time to go to the third layer and draw. I personally find these kind of angles, if not the most difficult, maybe one of the trickiest, because usually when something is like should look synchronized, or like, I mean, if flipped, I don't know how to explain that. So basically here you need to think about eyes being of the same size, and like parts of the lips being of the same size and right location, I mean in connection to the axis, I guess. So I mean, it's not super difficult, you just have to be attentive here when you draw angles like this. So this is why I think it's really useful to just make very general kind of sketching. It helps you to coordinate maybe and find some of the, not only proportions, but the location of face features. And you know, like at the beginning they might even look a little bit weird, but that's okay. Like, never be afraid of the ugly face. Sometimes I mean ugly phase of the drawing. So that's sometimes, like when you look at your drawing and you think that it's ugly, it can be just that it's not finished yet. Because, you know, sometimes there are stages like when things tend to look not their best, even though you're doing everything right. So I'm not going for too precise of drawing here. I mean that I'm not going to, like, you know, draw all these axes, vertical, horizontal, and check, like, and all this stuff. I'm just going with the intuition here pretty much, and just analyzing the result and the reference. But if you're studying, it's pretty much okay to, from time to time, just like take your pencil and maybe check if both halves of the face, for example, look more or less the same, because sometimes it does make a difference. I would say that this girl has like really pretty lips. I love the shape, I love the color, like she's so pretty. So when drawing the second eye, try to navigate yourself through analyzing the another eye. It's definitely, it helps you to make them more or less similar. Not same, but similar. You can see that I'm like significantly changing the proportions here due to the stylizing part. I mean, basically she has a way more developed jaw and the jawline. So let's see if it helps. Maybe we will just, yeah, maybe just a little bit move it up here. And actually, I'm sure you know about this trick, but in case you don't, I will just show you how to check if your drawing looks okay when flipped vertically. So you just go here to the wrench, then canvas, and then flip horizontal, and then you just look at your drawing. If it looks more or less okay, you can just flip back. But if you want to change something, just go ahead. Maybe like now I see that this line is not the way I want it to be, so I can just fix it a little bit, trying to make the both parts, like halves of the face, similar to each other, like maybe even checking the eyes. And actually you can even like leave it this way when flipped horizontally and continue drawing, especially if it's angled like ours here. And then you can flip back again and check again if you messed up a little bit or maybe everything's fine. So basically it's a really nice tool for checking yourself, and just sometimes you will see some of the so-called mistakes that you have, or maybe some of the things that you want to fix just by flipping the canvas. And actually it's not difficult to do. I mean, basically you just click on one button and it's done. Because you know, when we draw in one way, we might not see everything, or our eye becomes not as fresh when we start. So, I mean, our eyes can even get tired due to intense effort, and it's just a nice way to freshen up your perception of what you draw. So when there is this kind of hairstyle and this kind of bank, I just tend to still add maybe some of the, I would say, inequality to the parts of the hair. So that's, I just personally find it more interesting. That's my way of seeing things here. Sometimes though, like being more into What's this thing called? I even forgot it in my native language. It's not about synchronicity, it's about... I mean, like when the both parts are the same, like the left part and the right part. I forgot how it's called. Okay. So for our context's sake, I will call it like the halves equality or parts equality, but I'm sure there is some term. And there is some term, I just don't remember it at all. So, alright. So, as for the hairstyle, you can see that actually we can even like check, because here it should be more or less angled. I think I will leave it this way. I mean, I could make it this angle a little bit more extreme, but I just don't want to. I think it looks fine already, so just make things a little bit smaller so that we see the bigger picture. So yeah, actually one of the tips that I wanted to share with you guys, that when you draw something, try to zoom out pretty often, and especially if you tend to like get attached to details too easily and you don't see the bigger picture, just zoom out and draw everything as if it's like very, very simplistic and very, very general. So like in this case, it will help you to get the main proportions right, and after that it's way simpler to work with the details of the drawing. I'm not going to draw the hands here because it's just not what we're focused on today. I will just maybe go with the head and maybe a little bit of shoulders. So. You can actually even see a little bit of ears, so let's just sketch them out that they are present. Even though like due to the hair volume we cannot see them fully, but maybe some accessories as well. I mean, other girls here have some sort of accessories, so I think this one wants some too, so let's draw. Very much for the advice. We'll keep in mind for future drawing. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. Like, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Like, if I can, I will help. Maybe adding a little bit of extra hair here, because as you see, like this, I wouldn't say hairstyle is chaotic, because you can see that it's actually perfectly organized, but maybe this part of the hair looks a little bit messier than the upper part, so I think we can add some of this like extra hair going this way, and once again it will make the and I usually try to close a little bit these kind of portrait sketches with some sort of indication of the clothes, because maybe you heard about this phenomenon in art community and like drawing communities, like when there are some just flying heads, and usually it happens if you don't draw the neck and maybe the shoulders. So I mean, once again, personally, I have nothing against it. Like, if you like it, go for it. If you like the way it looks, go for it. So I just personally find it more pleasing, like when there is some sort of indication of maybe the neck or the shoulders, and usually, like, not to make it look incomplete, I draw the line of the clothes, so that this way our imagination kind of maybe draws the way the clothing goes and how it looks. So I think it's just more interesting for the viewer after all. So yeah, this is why I drew in the last girl's portraits some sort of t-shirt or whatever. We can even maybe add a tone to it a little bit. Yeah, basically this way. Oh, and actually I think I want to add a little bit of the details with the nose. And sometimes just it can be really satisfying to add a few like highlights, even though like they're just drawn, they're not, I mean, obviously it's not about color, but still it can be really nice. Just a few more dots here. Yeah, so but it's important to know like when to stop, because I personally have this problem when I just don't want to stop painting or drawing something, because I always like have a feeling that there is something to improve, and I don't think it's bad, but it can lead you to spending like lots of time additionally, and secondly you can mess up the already good result that you have, so it's important to know like when to stop actually. Okay guys, so basically that's it for today. These are our results. So tell me please which drawing do you like the most? The first, the second, or the third? These are our trio for today, and tell me which one was the most challenging if you drew with me, so I will be really interested in knowing that. And so yeah, thank you so much for being here, thank you so much for watching, for chilling with me here, and don't forget to subscribe, to give me a like, and see you in my next video. Bye!